I think the blue line is across the screen. Hey all, it is Wednesday, the 24th of May, 2023. We're here for Plutus PBL live coding, which we do almost every week. I say almost because in 2 weeks, we're going to take a quick break. I'm hosting one of these governance workshops and going to kind of be focused on what's going on here. But if anybody wants to continue running these sessions, we could talk about that next week. I just want you to have that on your radar. I'm excited about the governance work. Eris was saying right before we went live, you know, it's cool to see how much is going on across the Cardano ecosystem right now. There's lots of different things happening in all sorts of different directions. And I'm really pumped about the governance part because that's why I'm here. I think it's what's particularly unique about this blockchain. And that's going to start to, you know, overlap more and more on the technical side as we start making decisions about SIP 1694 and what functionalities can be added to the chain. Before we jump into today's topics, which you can start adding, I see some people are already on the Miro board, so be sure to jump in here. And before we go through that together, I just wanted to share some quick updates. One, we had a conversation last week about navigation. So here's a little experiment for everybody. There's just a little jump to module menu here that pops open when you click this button. I'm not perfectly happy with how this button looks for now, but a little bit of functionality and we'll keep it coming. So it's really cool to get feedback and to be building this thing together. On the student page, there's been a couple updates. So if I connect a wallet now, I can see, for example, that I've got this token connected and I can see in green which modules I've completed and which ones are still ahead of me. But this page is really a canvas I want all of us to explore together. You've probably got some ideas about what it would be cool to have on this page. I know that I have a few more myself. So this is one thing that we can continue to explore together, whether you have questions about how it works so far or what you want it to be able to do. And the same goes for the new contributor list that we pushed up yesterday. Just a little data here to get us going. Some of this is survey data. Some of it's on-chain data. There's a link to complete the survey if you haven't done it yet. But you can also see how many people have completed each module. And it's just nice. I found that as I look at, for example, the results of the ongoing stake pool operator poll about protocol parameters, I find it's really nice just to look at that raw data and I tell myself different stories about it, right? Try out different arguments. We could do the same thing here. Is this course a success? I don't know. 115 people have signed up by minting a token, but as you can see, only a subset of those have finished modules, right? So how do we talk about success? Now we've got places to start doing that. And if there's other data points you would like to see here, just like with the student dashboard, this is something we can explore together. Any high-level questions about that handful of updates?
Yeah, I guess my high-level question is, who's not completed the mid-course survey? Come on, that's like an easy number to fix.
Thank you for feedback on it. It's awesome to start seeing these rolling in, right? And this is, in the long run, this course will simply be just an ongoing community resource, right? That we will continue to revise and refine together over time. So that survey is a really nice place to start talking about what you want to see here. Dan, what do you think?
I was just going to say to Newman, I'm waiting until I've got to the mid of the course before I fill the survey in.
Good point.
Fair. Very fair.
Listen, at the moment I'm struggling with the changing the number in the thingy. So
yeah.
Me too. Work on that today. That's a good one.
It's yeah. I don't get. It's coming up saying it's expecting a hash or a hexadecimal digit, and I'm giving it #0. So what's it? It's yes. All right.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, changing the number is, yeah. I also need to do that. So me and you can get together, Dan.
Yeah.
Yes.
My fees and collateral definitely has a #0 at the end of it. So I don't get why the TX in is failing.
That could be a great thing for us to look at today, actually. 1 second here. Let me just that. Oh, but I don't want to lock those.
I'm going to paste in my error message so that we have it for reference.
Mine would fill at least 2 pages of chat.
This, honestly, this might be a really good thing for us to look at today. I know that another topic coming out of last week is we wanted to try to maybe build a multi-sig address together using Cardano CLI and play around with that. And maybe if we tackled both of these things in order, first troubleshooting a lucky number change, which is going to happen on Cardano CLI anyway, and then we could maybe build a multi-sig address. That could be a great agenda. What are some other agenda items we might want to touch today?
So I've just got that one error. Oh, but I did have something to bring up. Actually, and I think the survey, this came up in the survey, and then there's an insight. So this is maybe a bigger thing. But over the weekend, my buddy had a book, and he talked about education and training, the difference between education and training, and basically education sort of widens your scope, and training narrows your scope in a big picture kind of way. And I thought about here at the live coding, both are going on. We're being educated, widening of the scope, and trained, narrowing of the scope. Going through the modules is sort of a training, following along and learning kind of, little side quests like little keyboard shortcuts or how people use VS Code. Faizan, looking at you. And those are great, but it seems like when I expect to be trained and I get educated, or vice versa, when I expect to be educated and get trained is when, there's a little uncomfortableness. And so, it's just the takeaway from that is sometimes I come to the live coding and I just want to focus and do different types of work. And I have kind of an idea for how that might happen in the breakout room.
That's really cool. So part of it is like, it might ease tension a little bit just to know kind of which lens to lay on something more often.
Exactly. That's definitely my sort of, my mindset when I come. I was like, and I kind of learned, I was like, oh yeah, I have to do my training outside. Like basically that's what, Harsha and I were doing is some training, meaning I wanted to get to that error, which I ran into, almost 3 weeks ago, and I haven't been able to get around it. And so, yeah, that's the error that I got. And it's in the second half. It's unlocking the tokens, unlocking tokens from a contract address. And I'm fully in the Gimbal Labs philosophy. I don't mind the error, but so it's just an opportunity to sort of learn stuff. And going back over it, this is at least the second time that I've gone back to it. And each time I kind of get a different, I'm learning stuff. The education is happening for sure.
Human.
But I want to turn my student page from orange to green, and I want to change my number.
I would love to work on this one today, personally. I think we're in a really good position. And so these are all kind of related, right? So if we maybe started here and looked at this error, would you be willing to share screen on this one?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm yeah, Harsha pulled me up, so I've got it all set up, and we've got the error. The error is live. It's like, you know, pending. It's pending right now.
Okay. Good. Yeah, so I'd be really into that. There's another breakout room potentially for minting tokens with Plutus. That's a great one as well. And then module 204, this is one when I think we have a quorum ready. Let's troubleshoot that one. And I think that's coming soon. But let's decide if that one we want to prioritize it today. Any other topics that people want to throw into these breakout rooms before we do a quick vote? And Erez, yeah.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
I'm really interested in getting a better understanding of Cardano scan and transactions in and out. And I was looking at like some random transactions on, for example, MinSwap or something, and trying to make sense of it, but I'm not able to. So I was thinking it'd be cool to like go through it sometime, and we can kind of dig deeper and see like what's going on in these transactions, and like with the DEX on Cardano and how it's working.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's relevant to the class, but I think it would add to it, because it would give us like a better understanding of what's going on and how these transactions are working.
Awesome. You know
Yeah,
what?
I want to follow up on that. That has definitely been on my mind. A lot of this is about vocabulary and being able to speak in the, you know, to like use these terms. And I look at that, the transaction hashes, and or, you know, I look up something on Cardano scan, and I look at all those things, and that's been on my mind, Eris. So thank you for bringing that up, because I would love to just like, okay, these are, you know, so that it connects. It's like connecting neighborhoods in my mind. That'd be great.
It's awesome. Certainly, if we build a successful unlocking transaction or lucky number changing transaction, let's definitely follow by looking at the results on Cardano scan, and then maybe we can compare what we see with a lucky number transaction to maybe a MinSwap transaction. And Eris, if you can have a MinSwap TX ready to go when we get to that point, it'll be cool to put those side by side and see what the similarities and differences are. Cool. Any objections to opening a quick vote right now? Our standard procedure here is that we just vote for which of these rooms we want to keep here in the main room as the recording, and which ones should just be breakouts where people can go as needed. I'll set up the voting space like this.
I'm going to do some electioneering. Everyone vote for me. I love being on TV. That's I don't know if I wanted. I don't know if I
You
wanted
got my vote.
electioneering. That could be a whole nother thing. This
All
had to
right.
be-
Hey, this is, oops, I pressed the wrong button, but I do want that as well. Okay, so this voting is started. The Miro link, I'm going to drop it into the chat once again. And if for any reason you're not on the Miro board, feel free just to drop a number, 1, 2, or 3 into the chat. And thanks, Claudia. I'm writing back right here. And yeah, you're right. I need to add. All right, I'll add that commit to 204 button after the meeting today. I didn't realize we didn't have that yet. Thanks, Harris. Throw my vote in. All right, let's see. We got number one in the chat, and
Drum roll, please. Yes.
good enough consensus for today. Let me open up 2 additional rooms just so we have them. We'll have one for module 204. And we are going to get to this about kind of any faucets that need to be fixed in some way. There's all sorts of questions that's going to raise. So I'm excited when we get there.
Yeah, because I think it's hard to solve the issue without having consensus about the solution.
That's right. That's right. And they're like, and honestly, what this does is it gets us into the broader conversation about setting standards, you know, and how do you, one of the things you have to do with an identity solution, for example, is figure out how you revoke a response that's not valid in some way. And it's without a doubt, there's going to be invalid entries to this faucet project, and deciding how we remove those from what shows up on the page kind of leads us to some bigger topics. So yeah, that's going to be really exciting when we get there. But this is a good stepping stone along the way. And Newman, to confirm, are you okay driving for
let's do it. Let's do it.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to stop sharing here. The other 2 breakout rooms are open. But yeah, let's focus on building an unlocking transaction and some troubleshooting. This is really exciting.
Here we go. Can you see my screen?
Looks good.
Okay. So let me orient you to my sand table here. This is the module that I'm going through. And here, so this is my notes document, and it says that I'm, you know, there's my module address, URL, and then these are my variables, and we went through grabbing these UTXOs from, this is my sender address, and this is also so we queried the testnet for this contract address, okay, and so this was the contract UTXO. Let's see if we can find it. It ends in 1BA9. So this is first one with the first hash. So there's that. We did have to look around for this script file, which was, and hopefully this is making sense. There's the always succeed script file. PBL template output always succeeds. Template output always succeeds. That looks right. The collateral UTXO, that's one in my wallet, and that one ends in DB65, which I think is a cool wallet number, by the way. DB65 is, and then #3, so it's this one with this amount of Lovelace in it. Okay. And then this always succeeds contract, which we got from CA8Z is the last 4, and I think we got it from the previous module right here, CA8Z. Okay, So now we're all up to speed, I think. And then this. So this one, we ran into a first error when we had to put in the protocol.json address. So, and I think that was in the video. Okay. Yeah, and you can see it. See, here was that first error. And then we changed it with this path. And then we got this error, transaction build error. And I'm going to post this in the chat. This is high quality content right here.
This is perfect. This is so good. So anybody have any questions or suggestions yet?
Can you go up to the where you query the contract address?
Yes. In here. So this one is my address. This is the contract address. Can you is there a way to make my screen bigger or anything like that?
I think your
Looks good.
you have a datum hash at the contract. The script data in Babbage error looks like it's a hash, but you're trying to use an already present inline datum at your transaction build command. Because if you see the third transaction,
okay,
is a reference to in scripts inline datum the type. That's an inline datum, and you try to unlock your transaction with the tx in inline datum, but you have a datum hash.
So and thank you, because I don't quite know what any of that, like I'm still getting used to that yet. I don't know yet what those are, but I can see that these UTXOs are, they have different, like this TX out datum hash, and then this one says TX out datum inline. And you're saying that, and then in my transaction build, I've got this TX out inline datum. So
that's the locking transaction, I guess, what you highlighted there, because it should be something like TX in spent inline datum or something like that. Can you scroll to the unlocking?
And notice that the second to last UTXO on Newman's screen here does have inline datum just right above that.
Oh, okay.
See, this one has script data number 1618, and you can see it's human readable. That's fine.
So, okay. And Adrian, I can pilot somewhere else?
Yeah, if you want to unlock a transaction with a datum hash, you need the datum file in JSON format and input that to the transaction.
Okay.
But I guess you don't have it. So you can try it with another transaction with an inline datum.
Let's try this
one. Yeah, that's also should work.
Oh boy, here we go. And then that's hash 0. So I'm gonna fix it in here.
So this would be the contract UTXO in.
Yeah. Oh gosh, am I in the right spot? No. Yeah.
I think you're just go.
No, I got one more down. Contract UTXO.
Mhm.
And it's still hash 0. Correct. 295E hash 0. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna put this into my change this. because the error says transaction, the following scripts have execution failures. Okay, well, that's fine. Let's try, let's see if this works. So I'm setting this variable, that looked good. And now I think I can do this command again and see what happens. This is unlocking the thing. Uh-huh.
All right. So that's, we did need to fix that. And that's one thing that's going to come up soon.
Okay.
But for me, the key part of this error message is where it says it points to a Plutus script that does not exist.
Here it is, right here. It says our redeemer PTR, redeemer pointer, spend 0 points to a Plutus script that does not exist.
Yeah.
The pointers that can be resolved are from list. Okay, okay. All right.
Right. And so we could argue about if there are better error messages here, a better way to say it. But really what this message is saying is we don't think the contract address we're unlocking from matches the Plutus script, right? In other words, by trying to spend this UTXO, the unlocking key to the address, the contract address holding this, right, requires a certain Plutus script, and it doesn't exist. We're not seeing it in this file. So there's another thing we should check here. The always succeeds Plutus script that you have, and the path to it is on line 158 right there, right?
Yeah.
Can you CD to that directory?
Yeah.
Or actually, well, yeah, let's just CD over there. It's fine. Just remove the file name. So everything.
Oh, yeah.
After output needs to be removed.
Okay.
Okay, and here we're in the directory now where we have this always succeeds file.
Yeah.
This file.
Oh.
So now let's do Cardano CLI address build.
Okay.
And we're going to check on the address that we're getting from this Plutus script and make sure it's the one you have here.
I don't know exactly that command. It's address.
Okay. Yep. And then build.
Okay.
And then it's -- payment script file separated by dashes. Payment -script -file.
Okay.
And then it's this file name. You can just start typing always and then tab to complete.
That's awesome. Okay.
And then we just need to specify the network. Okay, so we say testnet magic 1, or sorry, with the -- testnet magic.
Yeah. Which is sort of the common, like, this is how you put in a test net.
Now, a really key thing to notice here, we're going to talk more and more about this, and I think this is another kind of sleeping killer feature of Cardano. Notice that you have this one Plutus script that's already compiled, but you could run this command with testnet magic 1, or you could run it with mainnet, and you'd be using the same Plutus script to generate addresses on 2 different blockchains, right? And what it follows that anybody who ever forks Cardano in the future, right, is going to be able to maybe reuse Plutus code across networks, or even reuse key pairs across networks to generate a unique address. Okay, here's the address of this key on mainnet. Here's the address of this key on NewmanNet, right, and et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
All right, let's see what address this gives us. And the question is, that address right there, that's not the one that we pulled from the PPBL website. Okay. Now, first of all, can you jump back to the PPBL page and see if this is even one of our options?
I think it was for this one.
Yeah, right. The results were shown here. And so I think it's actually the first one. And so this
Oh,
is-
I think, okay, Erza's got a question.
go for it,
Because
Eric.
I think we got it. I think we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, just had a question. James, you said something about two blockchains, and were you referring to like mainnet and testnet and testnet and preprod as being separate blockchains, or did I miss it? Or
That's correct. Because that's exactly what they are.
Yeah.
On
Okay.
one of
How-
them, we've just
how does that
agreed
work?
Well, basically by human consensus, right? On mainnet, we've all agreed that these tokens mean something and we should be careful with them. And on pre-prod, we've all agreed that the tokens are meaningless, so we can throw them around. But like, people could decide tomorrow that test ADA on pre-prod has a dollar value. They could do that.
Harsha's going to decide today that is the case.
Yeah. Pre-prod is a working network. It does all the things we need it to, right?
Okay, so and Harsha and I were working on this problem before, and we rolled into this same, because he's like, well, which one are you using? And I was like, I don't know. How do I tell? And I guess I tell by building something and then it making an error like that.
Right. And we realized last week at live coding that even the Aiken address might be changing over time, right? So what was always succeeds when this was first published a couple months ago might not even generate that address anymore if you're using the most recent version of Aiken. But at least for this one, that address is still relevant, 2KLA. So let's replace that one. Let's query that address and find a UTXO there to unlock.
Okay. So I'm just thinking, like, which one did I use? So this is the one that I should be using, because I'm just backtracking just a little bit, because this always succeeds Plutus file spits out this address, which is, and I'm using it there, that it also needs to have, like, the contract UTXO needs to go here. So we need to query the address, this one, to find a UTXO here. Okay, is that tracking?
Right? This like a Plutus script serves a very similar role to like a verification and signing key file, your public and private keys, right? Now your V key can generate an address, and any UTXOs at that address can be unlocked with the associated S key to that V key.
Okay.
With contracts, it's okay, well, we compiled this .plutus file. We can create an address from that file. And then anytime we want to unlock UTXOs from the resulting address, we need to reference this Plutus script again.
Okay. And
now it's likely, notice how many more results there are here.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, a lot more, crap ton more.
This is because a lot more people over the years have played with Plutus TX than PluTS, which was the other address that we were just looking at. So, right, only a handful of UTXOs at the PluTS always succeeds contract. I think students in this course were the first ones to play with that.
Right.
But Plutus TX, people have been messing around with always succeeds for a long time, as you can see right here.
Right. So when I was doing this before, we wanted to find one with a lot. Oh, here's one with a lot in it. Is that just so there's stuff? So
I would love to steal how much. What is that? 200 test data? Yeah. Okay. It'd be wonderful to steal that. The problem is this one has a TX out datum hash.
Oh, we want one with an inline hash.
Yeah, inline, all we have to do is copy what it says. If it's a hash, we have to discover what that hash represents, which you could do. You could just brute force it, right? If there was enough ADA, you could just say, hey, just give me the hash of all the possible datums until you find this hash,
Okay.
right?
Okay. What's this
But-
one that says? What's this one that says TX out datum none? So we got datum hash and datum none. So what about when there's no inline or no datum?
In a simple UTXO in your wallet, this is what you would want, right? You don't, you might not want extra datum. You're just holding tokens and you want to be able to move them.
Hmm.
At a contract address, if there's no datum attached to the UTXO, that UTXO is now permanently locked at that address. It's irredeemable.
Okay. Okay. Let's
This
keep
is
going.
a big problem. So, right, if you build a DApp on mainnet that's accidentally starts locking UTXOs at a contract address without datum, that's a disaster, right? This is something people have to know. I wish there were stronger guards in place against this happening, but there aren't natively to the way Cardano CLI or Node work.
Okay. 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 Which one should I use then? Here's one, because I think we locked. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter how much we unlock, but we locked five, and this one has 1, so that's not good. Is that? I mean, is that a thing?
You could unlock any of these. In fact, we could unlock 2 of these in the same transaction. We could unlock an arbitrary number of these. It's just that for each one, we have to specify. Oh, actually, no, we don't even have to specify it. We just say the inline datum is present. Yeah, we could unlock a bunch of these. You want to try to unlock 2 at once right now?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Right. And that will give us a fun thing to look at then when we look at the transaction on Cardano scan.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So the block you have from lines 165 down through 168, those 4 lines.
Yeah.
We're going to repeat those twice.
Okay.
Just make a copy of those underneath. Okay. And this is a common pattern. Anytime I want to use a contract UTXO as input, it's not enough just to specify the UTXO. I also have to specify the script file, right? What Plutus are we referencing? The datum somehow, and I have some choices for that. And the redeemer somehow. I also have some choices for that.
Okay.
Okay. So let's grab 2 different UTXOs, maybe on 165 and 169. Let's call these 1 and 2.
UTXO 1, 2. Okay.
And then pick any of these that have an inline datum number. Let's just do some easy ones that have integers.
Here we go. Here's one.
Yeah, that one will do.
Okay. Let's do that. All right. So I'm gonna put down contract. That was #0.
And want to grab the number that was associated with that while we're here, so we have to search for it later.
Just that?
Yep. Well, and let's call that datum 1.
Okay. And then, oh, this is fun. Fast furious fingers of fury going in here. 2 and 2.
To everybody for going deep into CLI. Thank you. I'm really excited that we're choosing to do this. How about a negative number?
Ooh, negative. That sounds awesome. But these are really teeny, so.
I know. Well, I mean, yeah, we're gonna have to unlock 2 of them, you know, just to make it worth recouping the fee, right? So looking ahead to the future where Tada has a value.
Newman, there was one a bit higher up that had 40 in it.
Okay, okay. You see it?
There. Stop. Bottom of the
Oh,
bottom
I
line.
got it. Oh, I got it. Yep, and it's in line. Yes. Okay, but what about this script data constructor?
Ooh, that's interesting. We could try it. We could try it. That's
Oh
gonna be a
yeah,
slightly different beast right there.
you're chicken footing us, but it's okay. It's okay. The Domino's players out there just throwing out references for no good reason now. Okay, hold on. Copy.
I remind me to ask you later exactly how a chicken foot works, because
Okay, that's the same hash, and then this datum too. So now we're
yeah, let's for now on line 160, just say datum2 is equal to, we'll call this like datum.json, and we're gonna have to make a new file.
ooh, okay.
But this is good. This is gonna have us covering two different sorts of inline datum, right? With an integer, you can see if you scroll down to line 169 or whatever. Oh, I'm sorry. No, with inline datum, it doesn't matter. Sorry, and Adrian already said that. If we were adding this datum to an outgoing UTXO, we would have to distinguish this. But since it's inline, we don't even need to specify it. So
Okay.
sorry, I was making us go too far.
Okay.
We actually don't even need to know these things. And the premise is, well, if it's already inline datum, you already know it. Why are we going to make you say that you know the thing that you can already look at? Right?
Okay.
So that's not required. So actually, this is going to be, we're done.
Okay.
We're going to be done. Yeah, we can skip those datums. If I wanted to post these datums, we would need to know them. But if you look here, all we have to say on 170 and 174 is just that there is inline datum here.
Present. Okay.
It's enough.
Okay. Cool.
Because this is always succeeds, the redeemer value doesn't actually matter.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Right. In a real application, that redeemer serves a purpose. Right. There's a few different mental models you can use to think about what a redeemer does. But for now, this should be fine.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna paste in my variables.
Yep.
Okay, that looked good. And then I'm gonna paste in this build transaction. Here we go. Ha ha ha, it worked. That was it. That's so this unlocked from those. So now let's go over and check out the, oh, wait a minute. No, I still have to do the thing. Wait a minute. Still got to do this. I was celebrating early. Now I'm going to do both these at the same time. Sign and submit. Transaction successfully submitted. Now, hold on, wait a minute. So where is the, I can query, I can query my address because it should show, okay, so let's, okay. And this should be, yeah. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Does any of these look new and unfamiliar?
I have no idea.
Right. So if you had like a screenshot of what was in this wallet previously, you could compare them, and the new one would be your TX hash.
Right.
Okay. But you can also just now go to Cardano Scan and search for your sender address.
Oh, okay. So if I echo, I could also just scroll up, but this is kind of the cool way to do it. It's like the cool kids way to do it. And On the scan.
And just make sure you switch to pre-prod, actually.
Oh, yeah. Good call. Okay, does that look good?
Hopefully. Let's see, is there a transaction from a few minutes ago?
Right. So now this gets us to Erza's and my okay, like looking at this, looking on Cardano scan, like okay, there's my address. I get that.
Yeah.
Token balance, controlled stake key, a stake test. Okay, but then I'll look down, I'll say, okay, were there transactions in the last a minute ago? Okay, so this is probably our transaction. The transaction hash 9 FBB. If I go back in here, would I find a 9 FBB here?
Tap the up arrow one more time to run this command because it might have just confirmed.
Oh, okay. This one.
Yeah.
9 FBB. No.
Yeah,
Well,
we would expect to see that.
Would it be? Okay, well.
So click on the.
Okay, okay, so will this, oh, go ahead.
That's the contract address that we.
Yeah, so that I recognize, that's the contract address. That's where we were unlocking from. And
Right.
does unlocking mean that transferring back? I guess that is.
Well, you could see it says ADA was
Guys,
sent from that address. Yeah,
the
Dan.
wallet address is a staking wallet, not a thingy wallet. It's a stake test one, not ADDR test one.
That's right. Well, and there's a few different addresses by which we could have referred to this, but to get to here, Newman searched for the address that was on the one he had on CL. But can you click on the transaction hash down below in that list of transactions?
This one here?
Yep.
Here we go.
And then next to the summary tab at the bottom of the page, there's a UTXOs tab.
Yep.
And so what do we see here? Well, how many inputs were there?
These are the total inputs.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a 40 and there's our little one. Okay, 42. Oh, okay.
There they are, right?
This
Both
one is
came from the same address.
Okay, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, okay. Both from the same address. What about this number down here?
Is that a datum hash maybe? Click on it. Let's see.
No biggie if it's not. I'm not trying.
I wonder if that was the hash of the previous transaction that one
sort
came from.
It feels like it. It feels like it.
Says, yeah. That's our previous TX hash. Okay, so you can follow, you could keep going backwards in time, you know, for following where every input came from previously.
Yeah. Well, not on this one. Not on this. Oh no, right here. Yeah, you could. Anyway, but that's who wants to go back in time? I want to go
down memory lane. I remember when I got those tokens from the faucet. Oh, and that's where I did module 101. Cool. Now it's a mystery why this isn't showing up on Cardano's CLI. Can you query that address one more time? Because we should. I mean, you should just have a UTXO at this address now with 42 ADA in it. Why isn't it showing up?
I was just thinking also it might be easier for the user to understand what's going on if it was a bit more color coded, like to see which transaction connects with which, if they had the same color or something. It might be an easier experience.
Mm-hmm.
How easy do we want to make it for people to track people back in time, though? You know, it should take a little bit of work, right, to uncover all those forensics. Newman,
For
can you drop in
detectives.
the chat that address?
Okay. I should have it. And let's see, I'll grab it. Just here it is. Okay, let's do it the cool kid way. Echo. Oh no, it's up here. That's it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Putting it in the chat. It's fun to drive, y'all. If you ever get a chance, I recommend it.
Thanks for doing it.
James,
Yep.
going back to what I said earlier, why is it showing some of the wallet addresses beginning stake rather than ADDR?
Yes. Good. So the way it's a Cardano scan design decision to do it that way. Basically, if an address has a staking credential associated with it, Cardano scan is going to show it to you that way.
Okay.
Okay. And one of the reasons that happens is because this is kind of because of the somewhat arbitrary way that HD wallets are defined, right? We're familiar with this concept that like eternal or deadless, when you make a wallet, it has many addresses, right?
Yeah.
But all those addresses share a staking key. And if you ever search for such an address on Cardano Scan, you can actually see the one staking key that unifies that whole set of addresses into one wallet. And it'll show you, it'll even show you to like view all associated addresses. And you can see that whole list.
Those stake addresses. Okay.
Yeah. Newman, I was having this problem with my node until recently, and it looks like, and I don't know why it's happening. I don't know what introduced precisely the problem, but it does look like your node isn't quite syncing, like Claudia suggested in the chat. And when I just queried this address, I do see the new UTXO. Now, this is what's interesting here is that you did successfully submit the transaction to the chain. Your node was running well enough for that to happen, but there's something buggy happening with refreshing the data. What version of Cardano CLI are you running? Can you just do a Cardano CLI -- version? Yeah, I started noticing this problem around 135.6 and 135.7. I ended up finally, I got version 8 running and had to just delete my database and start over to make it work, which was a bummer.
But I
yeah,
don't mind.
Has anybody else seen this problem?
Yes. Yes.
Who said that?
Yeah.
Who said that? Oh, James. Okay.
You guys, it was a crazy week. I dropped off and I was struggling. I could not get anything to work. There's a bug and I had to dump the databases. You guys, it takes 3 days
with
to sync your databases now. And so I was sweating it out. I had Boris, he helped me. He was able to link a node to my producer and buy me some time while I was dumping databases and trying to resync while I was installing. And then I had a little bit of private family tragedy, so I really was struggling. But finally got everything up and running. But you're right, James, it is a glitch. I don't know why it happened, but there's something with the old database that's just not matching with the new data as it comes in. I don't know. But the solution was to dump all docs, get all new config docs, and then dump the database, and that seemed to solve it. So yes, 100% ready. Sorry, I haven't gone for a while. It's been a
No, man, I know that was a real headache, and I'm sorry to hear about family stuff. But yeah, I'm also glad you're out the other side of getting the node up.
I'll be
Yeah.
flying out of town. I'll be flying out of town for a few days, and then I'm gonna come back in. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind. Stress on top of stress on top of stress. I'm back and I'm good. I'm good.
Well, we can fix this stress. We can fix this stress. So yeah, just so maybe redoing. I mean, it's not. It's it takes time, but yeah, I could do it. And as a matter of fact, like some people will be coming through. Like people that are starting up and they want. Actually, Harshad wants to start up. Wants to get a local node going. Trying again because it seems like there's yeah. I'm happy to try.
Thanks. Last summer we were running this course and the whole test net just failed from under our feet. So that was a much harder bug than this one, but this is the story of this year's course. Something happened as node upgrades happened, but they are preparing for the new Conway era. They are building peer-to-peer functionality into the node. These are worthwhile things. And what I've found each time something like this happens, it's like a real headache to make the change in the moment, but then it feels really good. Like you've really leveled up on the other side.
So true. So true. I'm also messing with Docker now. I don't know how many of you guys are running a Docker node, but I'm learning how to do the YAML config and trying to run that out. James, are you messing with that at all, bud? Or
that's at the heart of everything, like all the Dandelion stuff too. Basically, Roberto has used Docker and Kubernetes to make it easy to deploy all the things you need to build an app. And we'll get deeper into Dandelion in the weeks to come.
Yeah, I'd love to pick some brains on building that stuff up because the way I'm doing it, building it from scratch, right from source, it's just getting so complicated. I just want my configurations separate from the node, and I think that's going to make more sense in the long term. It's harder config, but I think it's going to be well worth it.
Speaking of good to see people, Agustin, good to see you. What's up, man?
Hi, how are you? I was traveling, so I didn't came up to the course, but I'm restarting again, so fine. I wanted to ask if when I do transactions, I noticed that it takes a moment when I query the UTXO to show on the list that it's supposed to happen, or I have the same problems that you have. So, but
it does take time.
It does take time.
Yeah.
But finally it showed up. So I hope that my Cardano CLI works well.
I wonder, because now that I think about it, I also had this problem when I was sending my contributor token around, and it wouldn't show up, and I would get frustrated and leave it, and then like Augustine, I would come back to it later, and I was like, oh, now it's starting to work just randomly. I wonder if turning it off and on helps, like to get it, turn it off, turn it back on. Oh, let me do that right now.
It will. So that will work for you. Yeah. If you turn it off and back on, you'll be able to see that new UTXO. Agustin, the screen where you can see the list chain extended new tip over and over again. Next time you submit a transaction with Cardano CLI, jump back to that screen so you can see what happens. And what you'll see the moment you submitted the transaction is you'll get a message that transaction has entered the mempool.
The mempool, yes.
Yep. And then you'll wait a block, sometimes more than one block, for the transaction to be accepted, right? And so basically, the first mempool message increases the number of transactions in your mempool from 0 to 1. And then you'll get another message where you see that there are 0 transactions once again in your mempool. And that's when the transaction is on chain.
Okay, it's cool. Thank you. I had another question regarding because I was doing the module 201, And when I do like npm run dev on the Plutus playground direct repo, I have like a hydralization. I don't know how to say it, problem. So I couldn't find the answer. So
That's an interesting one, and somebody with more React experience than me can jump in. But this is a React error.
mhm.
It's possible to ignore it when you're developing, because sometimes the reason it's happening is just because of the way the development server works. And so basically it's saying, hey, look, the first time we printed this React code to the web page, the first time we did that, the data was different, and now it has changed. Okay. And that's reporting to that. And that's a good thing. We do want that to happen. But the way dev mode works is that it refreshes more frequently than in build mode, which can lead to that error happening when it's not actually happening. So actually, like the Gimbal Labs website right now has that error on it because there's somewhere that I'm pulling data in at the wrong moment. But in deployment, it's not a problem at all. So I would like a better answer to that.
But if I run, let's say npm run build or something, I can bypass that. I'm gonna try.
Yeah. If you built and deployed it, you wouldn't see the error.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet, and thanks for noticing that. And yeah, I mean, that's one we should explore a little bit more deeply and try to pinpoint exactly where it's happening, right? But yeah, it's a React hooks thing. And then to Newman's question, how can you tell if you're using Plutus TX, PluTS, or Aiken? And Juan's answer is correct. After a script is compiled,
Right, then you don't know.
it's going to be hard to know where it came from. But it's a matter of us on the building side. If we wrote the contract and compiled it in Plutus TX, right, with Nix shell and your Haskell files, that's what we're referring to as Plutus TX, versus Aiken. If you created an Aiken project and compiled from there, we're referring to that as like the Aiken one, and PluTS, same thing. So there's documentation for how to build always succeeds in each of those three different languages.
Right.
And you can kind of see that process. But yeah, if you're using Haskell files, that's Plutus TX.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, okay. And so most of the course so far has been Plutus TX. I mean, like but it could, I mean, it's open to do what we want, right? But
yeah, so when you first build a smart contract, you get to see it in lessons 101.4 through 101.7. You basically get to see how to do the same thing in 4 different languages.
I need to go back. I think it's time to do the you know, yeah, run the dungeon, run the instance one more time, just to kind of like, and that would be, you know, I am looking forward to like new people coming through, if like because that really does help, you know, to sort of, then I can feel great. I love feeling great. And you know, you just feel like you're just like, oh, look at all this stuff, because you don't know that you've learned stuff until someone asks. Yeah, and that would be cool.
Dude, I've seen that before.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm not totally, you know, and that's why a lot of times the sophomore is really mean to the freshman, you know, but we've left that behind, so we don't have to be mean to them. We can be yeah.
Sophomoric NFT series.
Yeah, that's, I think there's a word for it, sophomoric. That's right.
So this is all up for grabs. Okay, we might realize as more people finish the 1 and 200 level modules that there's a better way to organize this information. Okay, because the entire Gimbal Labs team is about 18 months into trying to figure out how to teach this stuff. It's
Right.
nothing, right? We're still at the very beginning here. And the hypothesis right now is that we just want you to start to play around with like, okay, here is this thing called a compiled script, right? A compiled Plutus script, right? Here's this thing called a transaction, and we're choosing to give you the compiled scripts first and the transactions second, but that might be the wrong order.
I got you. Yeah.
Right?
And then, you know, I like the idea of coming through the Cardano scan, like learning, you know, like that's a good entry point. It's just like, okay, you just want to know what's going on with transactions, you know. It's sort of like with training and education, this whole thing. Training, you know exactly where you want to go. I want to do this, give it to me. And education, it's just like, I can't, you know, it's difficult. That's why it's probably not really done well. We got a lot of great training, but in this sort of goal-oriented thing, not so. Education is scary because you never know where it's going to go. Anyway, yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I get that. That's message received for sure.
Thank you. Eris, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just thinking about what you guys were saying about the evolution of the course, and I was tripping out on the whiteboard that you have in the back, and I was thinking about how, you know, we're using Miro and as a whiteboard, but I like the like OG kind of whiteboard. It'd be cool like to see you using it with us a little. Like I think it would be fun. I like whiteboard sessions.
I did my time standing up in front of people with a whiteboard, but I'll try it.
Like, oh, it feels like I'm going backwards, he says. He's like,
no.
he's like, no, don't make me stand in front of the whiteboard.
Oh man, no, what I would give for us to be together. Like that's
true.
to do sessions like this in person. James is doing it. You know, this is what I hope all of us get to do more of as we move forward. So connected to all of this, right? Remember, once we get 12 people to complete module 204 and complete the mid-course survey, then we open up 300 level modules and we'll start to roll those out. What's been really nice about the last few weeks is that our team has been reflecting a lot on what's the relationship between specialization and contribution. And when we first introduced it to you, we kind of kept that sequential. I don't really want to keep it sequential. I feel like those two things should be like tightly coupled, right? What's the best way to specialize in something? Often it's to start contributing to it, right? Get your hands into it, start messing around. So we want to minimize maybe the distinction between specialize and contribute, 300 and 400 level. And we don't want to give you just contrived 300 level modules. We want the 300 level modules to really focus on stuff that's really happening, okay? And luckily, there's a whole bunch of that baked into the course already. So an example, the way we are reporting course data, which until yesterday was a very simple table you might be familiar with, right? The lucky number column and the completed modules column. We could do all sorts of stuff with that data when we present it, right? And if we start thinking about how to use that data, it's naturally going to have us thinking about GraphQL queries, for example, which is one of the topics that you can specialize in at the 300 level. We might also think about the responsiveness of our applications and using, if you've heard the word indexer, a blockchain indexer can be used to specifically kind of pull and catalog data, but only the data you need, okay? If you've played with GraphQL already, the way it works is if you write a query, it queries the entire blockchain. but that might be resource intensive. If you already know that you only need very specific information, that's what indexers are for. And so a really cool thing we're going to be able to do is learn about indexers by improving the PBL course as it currently exists. That's where we're headed. Okay,
Right.
and so I'm really excited to couple those things and for people to start having options for what pathways they're going to follow. But one of the pathways is non-developer contributions, right? You might find that you like staying at a high level on a lot of these topics, and maybe you don't want to get straight into just writing code in like a heads down sort of way, but you would be really excited to help improve or refine the 100 level modules, right? Future-proof them. All of these are going to be options for contributing. Okay, and if we do it right, you already know the goal, right? The goal of this course is to onboard contributors to projects. This course is itself a project, and if we really do it right, the course becomes just a self-sustaining community resource. Okay, that's why it's on its own website. It's not on the Gimbal Labs website, right? It's got its own URL. We can run this thing, and so I just want you to know those opportunities are coming, and it's our job to make sure that people kind of know what options are out there, but keep the feedback coming. And if there's something that you see needs to improve, then we're all in the right place. Any questions, clarifying questions about that? Yeah, Eris.
No, on that note, I just wanted to add, to me, in some ways, it already seems like a success seeing the same faces, same people, and different people and new people coming in and continuing. And we've been into this course for a few months, so I think on that level, it's a success. I know I'm planning on staying and coming and learning with all of you and persevering, and I get that vibe from everyone here too, so that's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, that's really exciting, actually.
It's hard to know what's going to happen this summer. Governance is front and center for the next few weeks. So I mentioned at the start, next week, we're going to have live coding as usual, but the week after that, 2 weeks from now, I won't be able to attend live coding. So if anybody wants to run it, let me know. I'll ask again next week. But also if people just want to keep it informal and get together in the garage, that's fine too. Okay. Then we jump into summertime. We're all going to do as much as we can this summer, but hopefully take a little break at some point. So I hope people have a chance to recharge. And then in the fall, what I would love to happen is that we're not re-releasing the course in the fall, but we can kind of roll out just messaging and marketing, right? So mid to late August, we could say, hey, this course is available. Here's what you need to know about it. And we could talk about like a cohort coming in or get the word out that way. I'm open to any creativity there, but that's kind of how I imagine timelines.
James, that sounds like a great idea. Also, just so everybody's aware here, I did teach about Gimbal Labs at Tech Alley this week. It was our 2-year anniversary. I just dropped the tweet in the chat if you guys want to look at it, not to deter from the class too much, but it was our 2-year anniversary. We've been teaching this technology, and I've been teaching Cardano blockchain, most of the time. I had a whole bunch of devs in my room. There's a lot of photos if you guys want to check it out. In fact, Jamie Schwartz, who runs Blackfire, she ran through and she dropped a link on LinkedIn. I'll try and find it. And it's a ton of photos of the whole event. I had a room full of devs, and these guys were really digging in hard on ETH. And by the time we were done, I had a lot of people, going, this sounds actually pretty interesting. Yeah, right? It's like, oh, doing the live chat. And so hopefully we'll have some new friends coming into the class. I told them to bring their laptops next time. And what we're going to start doing is going through the modules at Tech Alley. And I would love to push those guys through. I think that'd be really cool. So I'll find you guys the links. It's a lot of great pictures. It's really cool. And we have a great turnout, over 200 people now. are coming to these events on a regular basis, and we're growing. I was there for the first one. We started this thing 2 years ago, and I remember I had 3 people in my room when I started, and 2 of them left. So, you know, now I've got a room full of devs, and these guys are getting interested, and things are taking off. So, you know, more point to it, James. We just got to keep going. You know, just keep doing the work and just keep being present, be that beacon. But please check out the tweet, you guys. Like it, follow it. It's really good for all of us to get this out
James,
there.
I'm not seeing it in the chat here.
Oh, let me see if I properly sent it, guys. Yes, I'm in Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, I sent it to Ezra direct. There, let me send it to everybody. Sorry, guys. Or Erez. Sorry, buddy. There you go. That should be everybody.
You know, I'm becoming more and more confident. I've never met an Ethereum dev who, after understanding A, UTXOs, and B, native assets, turned their back on it. Those 2 things, they really are revolutionary. And we're finally standing as a community, like we're not apologizing for UTXOs anymore. And we're just starting to see people saying, oh, here's what these are actually good for, right? Like this is what's possible, not like we can get it to do what Ethereum does, but oh, actually, because of UTXOs, you have these unique capabilities. And even more so with native assets, right? Once people understand that you don't need a contract to mint tokens, right? And you don't need to pass through a contract every time you're moving those tokens. That's
Powerful.
an incredibly big deal.
I'm gonna look for that tweet, or I'm gonna look for that LinkedIn, guys. I want you guys to see these pictures. I'll check it out. Yeah, we gotta just keep it up, man. We're there. We just gotta keep
showing what can be done.
Beautiful.
Cool.
All right, y'all. So is that a jinx? That was the jinx, man. That's sweet. All right, y'all. Who knew? Who knew? Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. See you tomorrow.
Gentlemen, thanks for driving today. Yeah,
No
bring
worries.
ideas tomorrow. If we want to do the multi-sig thing, that's an agenda option that we've got. If people want to try witnessing a transaction, so we'll keep that in our back pocket until we're ready for it. Otherwise, keep the questions coming. Lots of good stuff to do. I'm going to add a module 204 commitment button right now. I didn't realize that was there. All right. Any other questions we drop? All right. Thanks for this one.
Great day, everybody. We'll see you later.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you.